Election day now. Governor Gavin Newsom says he is confident tonight, and not just for himself, but for Democratic governors across the nation.
Our political reporter Morgan Reiner caught up with the governor as he cast his vote in person today. Morgan.
Happy Election Day, Laura and Chris. I asked the governor, if reelected, what's next? What are you going to focus on? He told me he's laser focused on the housing and homeless crisis, but he also added in addressing the crime issue as well.
Governor Newsom and first partner Jennifer Siebel Newsom cast their ballot in person Tuesday morning.
I think Democratic governors are going to do extraordinarily well tonight.
Political data analyst Paul Mitchell said the governor has reason to feel that good in California.
Even when the polls close tonight, even when we see final returns tonight, we still won't know the outcome of a lot of races. Now, the governor's race and a lot of the statewide races, we might be able to call immediately.
He said history is on the governor's side.
Democrats haven't lost a statewide election for any of the statewide offices since 2006. But since then, we haven't had Republicans being able to win a race statewide, and I don't think tonight will be the night.
And it doesn't help that rain is in the forecast on Election Day.
There are some voters who are still insisting on voting in person. We talked about it yesterday, but the fact that Latino populations and Republicans are two groups that still say in polling that they want to vote in person. The real question is, will they, learn to love their vote by mail ballot and return that today, put in the mail so that it gets postmarked by today? Or will they try to go to the polls, or will they vote at all?
So if Mitchell and every other analyst I've spoken to is right, Newsom will win. What's his main focus moving forward?
It's homelessness and housing affordability, fundamentally homelessness. We've got to address what's happening on the streets and sidewalks, address the issue of crime, not just violent crime, but property crime, those crimes that often go unreported.
Republican Senator Brian Daly, who is running against Newsom, spent the first half of the day down in Southern California, but he is making his way up here to Sacramento, where he will spend election night. Now, I asked his campaign if he could do a quick FaceTime or a Zoom with me on his way up. I have not heard back from them on that yet, but the last time I spoke to Daly on Friday, he told me that he is feeling great, and that's what he wants you, the voters, to focus on, how you're feeling. He says, if you feel great about the way things are going right now in California, then good, vote for Newsom. But he says if you're not happy, give him a shot.
It is indeed now up to the voters, and keep in mind you can register to vote on Election Day here in California, so it's not too late to make your voice heard. Morgan, thank you.
And as Morgan said, Governor Newsom is heavily favored to win tonight. Political analyst Steve Swant joins us live right now to explain the governor's race. Good evening, Steve. Always great to see you. We know that you've been following California politics for a long time. Can you recall a more what some might call lackluster governor's race?
Well, it's more than lackluster, actually. It's very reminiscent of 2014 when Jerry Brown easily won re-election and only 42% of registered voters showed up. But likely this is the least dramatic governor's race since 1946, when Earl Warren won the Democratic and Republican primaries. You could do that back then, and won the general election with 92% of the vote. Now, even though the voters have told pollsters, most of them, at least a majority, that they are discontented with the direction California is going in. Of course, Governor Newsom is easily expected to win a re-election, and it's really a hope and a prayer for Brian Daly. The donors have forsaken him. He did not have enough money to go statewide on television at all, and he's from a tiny town in Lassen County. Most people in California have never heard of him, and so it's a real problem for him. Governor Newsom has not poured it on. He has a $23 million campaign fund, but he spent his money not on himself, but on pushing Proposition 1, trying to defeat Proposition 30, and also going into some other states, mocking Governor DeSantis in Florida, and putting up billboards in red states indicating that California is really an abortion sanctuary for women in those states. So in terms of lackluster, this is certainly the most lackluster governor's race in 76 years.
With that in mind, Steve, and with Governor Gavin Newsom favored to win tonight, what do you think we can expect from him in his second term?
Well, Morgan laid out a few of those items on the agenda. Crime, housing, of course, healthcare, education, climate change and things like that. What's interesting is that he's going to have to pay attention to the state budget and to the economy, because in the last budget, California had a $97 billion surplus, and the governor was able to spend one time only on various programs a great deal. But now, the first few months of this fiscal year, California tax receipts are running about $7 billion below expectations, and we're facing some major layoffs in Silicon Valley and a possibility of a recession. So the one thing the governor doesn't want is to overspend and then get stuck at the end of the year trying to figure out, what are we going to do? Do we cut programs or do we raise taxes? And so I think he will pay a close attention to the economy. Now, and what is also interesting is that coming up on December 5th, rather, the governor has called a special session of the legislature because he's declared war on the oil and gas industry in California. He believes they are greedy, that they have raked in tens of billions of dollars in profits at the expense of consumers in California. He wants the legislature to hand to him a windfall profits tax. That tax would be rebated to Californians should it pass. This will be a pretty big battle at the state capitol because the oil and gas industry is well heeled.
Right.
Between 2018 and 2021, they've spent $77 million lobbying
Steve,
the
we will
legislature.
see where that ends up. We always appreciate your insights. Steve Swat, thank you for being here. Now remember, you can text the number on your screen with all your election questions or any problems that you come across when you're voting. And a member of the ABC 10 team will do our best to help you. And that number is 916-321-3310.